Hey guys, what's going on? Let's try that again. Hey guys, what's going on? Zarge of Death here, and we're gonna do another game analysis. And this one was the game I played as Darius Top, and I think it went fairly well. I did some talking about this in the actual video itself, but I want to do it here because I know not everybody watches that video. Team comps. We've got a very high ratio of physical damage dealers on our team. You know, we've got myself, we've got Ash, and we've got Jarvan. That's a lot of physical damage that's going to be dealt out. Used to be mitigated somewhat when Darius dealt some magic damage, but he doesn't anymore. Zyra's a very high damage support, though. She does magic damage support usually. And then Elise is a good magic tank jungler. Works kind of cohesively because we have a lot of engaged potentials, and then we've got a lot of kind of keeping them in the fight. All of us have some way to keep them in, you know. We've got the Elise stuns and the slows and the snares and all her bullshit. We've got the Zyra slow, we've got the Zyra snare, we've got the Zyra knockup. We've got Ash slows for days, we've got the Ash arrow, we've got my pull, we've got my W, which my W, which gives a 99% slow. We have Jarvan, the knockup, the slow, the Cataclysm cage. Then if we look at their team, you know, they've got a Teemo top, some AP damage there. He can be pretty nasty. It can create it can be a mean lane phase. TF mid, great choice. I do like TF mid. He's very strong as a mage, obviously. And the fact that his ult gives him so much roaming capabilities that's a little it can be difficult to keep track of where TF is. You have to be very careful once he hits 6. Lee Sin jungle, which I've expressed my doubts on in the past. I think it's one of those things that you do if you have a very strong early game team, or that if you need to help get a team rolling, he's a good person for it. Falls off somewhat late games because he's forced to go tank at that point, or at least pseudo tank at that point. Otherwise, he doesn't do anything. Braum, great tank. I think it's a really good choice because then he can block the Ash arrow. He can block all the snares that we have on our team. Can't block Jarvan, interestingly enough. Graves, great strong ADC. He's very early game as well. He's burst oriented. He doesn't have a great sustained output. The dash helps to remedy that, but I mean, it's still a good team. Don't get me wrong. This is still a good team. Make no mistake about that. So, the one thing right off the bat is that our Elise didn't connect for a while, actually. So, the Elise isn't going to be doing much. I'm sitting here thinking, well, what should I go? Finally decide on that. So, what I'm curious to see here is how Lee... Oh, I see what you did. Up and around. So we didn't realize he'd invaded here. Jarvan comes in and he's going to spot... He is going to spot this this Graves here. So we know they're at least trying an invade here. We don't know the full extent of it. So, you know, we try and just play it off. Say, hey, we need some help here. We see the TF up here, so we know they're going for something. They're oh boy. I keep doing that, don't I? So we know they're going for something. What exactly? Don't know. We were trying for like a pseudo invade. We got a ward down. We keep track of him. The problem is that Jarvan just kind of walks into this, right? So he gets destroyed. He's kind of like, hey, wait, how did he get there before me? Because he's been sitting there for a while. And they get caught here. Zyra sticks around and tries to do too much, and she gets a kill. She gets killed. Ash actually takes a decent amount of counter damage. You know, because the stun here. The stun's super mean. This is a very mean lane to deal with. It took the flash, it took the exhaust. So, I mean, it could have gone worse, right? Remember, we're still down a jungler. We don't have junglers. We don't have a jungler on our side, so it was a 4v5 at this point. So I think that most of these lanes match up fairly well. I think that the fact that the gap closing on Jarvan makes up for the fact that TF is a ranged champion. It has a really good capability. The sustained output of the bot lane can deal with the burst of the Graves and the tanking somewhat of Braum. So I think those are good matchups. Jungler, you don't see a whole lot of butting heads, but for a very long time, Lee Sin will win this fight because he's a Lee Sin. Top lane's a bit of a wild card, right? This can go two ways. It just depends on the players, right? Now, obviously, I know what happened, and if you watch the video, you know what happens. But I think both players, or both champions, all skill aside, just looking at the champions, I think they both have a chance at beating the other. Right? This could go either way. There's no set kind of like, oh yeah, we're gonna win immediately. This is a very much what I like to call a skill matchup. It's dependent on the player's capabilities and what they do. This is the toughest lane in this game. That said, I do think bot lane is at a bit of a disadvantage because of those, or the first blood and the kills that have occurred. So that will make this slightly harder, but again, he's extremely easy to take out because he's got burst and not a lot of sustain, whereas Ashe is like full sustain and good luck getting away from an Ashe. So as we let things play out some more, you know, he starts out with the poison, the toxic shot. I think that's not a terrible move. I'm not sure it's the best. I would have probably started out with the blinding dart. It offers easier damage, and the damage is actually higher total. At least early, right? I'm going to play a little cautious because I don't want to get torn to shreds. Minion pathing can be dumb. He doesn't even get his move quick for a while. Lee Sin nearly dies in mid. But there's a couple of interesting things that are going to happen, right? So we know bot lane's got a disadvantage. Zyra's not going to try and... Okay, she is finally going to try and defend her king. Lee Sin once again starts getting low. Jarvan's pushed to his tower. It's about, like I said, it's an equal fight up here. The trick is that I have more potions because of the start I went with. He went with the Amp Tomb, which costs more. But this is what I was talking about when it came to the damage, right? There's sustained damage output. So, you know, he's just trying to be pokey up here in top lane. Teemo can definitely beat out a lot of champions because he's got that range. But I just kind of walk up and I hit him a bit. You know? I force him to flash away. Okay, cool. But knowing the champions like I do, I just kind of flash Q him. Since that works again. You used to not be able to do that. And then, in a move that's really silly here, Lee shows mid. And Jarvan can do some damage. That said, Jarvan doesn't do, or Lee doesn't do a whole lot. He just kind of sticks around in the background. But we get just a very fast engage. So we've just evened up. Minus the CS discrepancy in bot lane, we pretty much evened up the gold. And now we have an Elise. So now it's an actual 5v5. So we're going to speed things up again, because it is a long replay. There's a lot to talk about. Most of it's just map movements. You know, there's a lot of sticking around, doing damage. There's a lot of bitching between bot lane. A lot of bitching there. Jarvan sits and waits to get his pickaxe and a flask, I guess. You know, Teemo likes to push the wave, so I'm just going to be like, I'm like, oh, well, you can push the wave. I'm just going to CS anyway, because damn, I'm Darius. I'm waiting until I hit 6 to really go in on him. But he's doing some decent damage now because he's leveled this up to level 2. Fight breaks out down bot. We actually managed to do, we do actually manage to pick up a kill out of it. Which is nice. The the miracle heals there kind of prevent that, but we're gonna quickly offset it by, oh look, he's a dunker. Again, though, it's a traded kill, so they're still slightly ahead in gold. Alicia's bot tries to do things, doesn't really manage to do anything besides not die. It's about the extent of what she does. Nobody takes Dragon for a while, so Dragon's pretty much just safely ignored. A very easy kill for the Zyra. I think that he got too greedy by going for that. I find it funny that TF is the one asking for the assistance in this match when he's got the range and he's got the stun. It means that he's really not confident in what he can do. I mean, Jarvan just can dumpster people. Right? Oh, so Teemo actually disconnects for a little bit. This is something I didn't know. I'm thinking he's gone roaming to mid, right? So if I'd realized he'd actually disconnected, and I had this time I could actually just be using to push, I would have. That explains why he came back with what he did. He only grabs a dagger, so it's not a huge back. Yeah. Remember how I said you don't want to trade early with Lee Sin? At least tried that, and at least behind compared to his Lee Sin. That's the trick, right? So it's even, to me, it's even stupider, right? About whatever. Jarvan, showing that he's actually really strong, manages to nearly 2v1. Illy shows up, tries to, she takes a tower shot. That's it. Teemo shrooms are occurring. I'm trying to be all cautious and shit. Not wanting to fight super hard. Teemo hurts, man. Fight down bot where Zyra continues to get fed. Okay, I actually want to take a look at this because this was a kind of a point of contention for me. Is that she takes multiple tower shots, right? There's one tower shot. There's 2 tower shots. She tanks 2 tower shots. So that's a tower dive to me. It's a failed tower dive, but it is a tower dive nonetheless. Try to get away, but they just have too much. At least just kind of runs. Jarvan shows up eventually for some cleanup, but you know, a lot of what I want to talk about doesn't come up for a bit, so we're gonna actually go to speed. It's a lot of small skirmishes for a while that result in small advantages, right? Kills being traded over. Really about it. We get some kill trading in here. They take the bot tower. Great arrow. I mean, Jarvan just pulls off the miraculous thing. Ashe takes the tower and gets a kill against Lee Sin. It's very much just kind of a pushing game at this point, right? There's not a huge advantage. The first time I'm really going to talk about advantage, again, is at 15 minutes on the clock. Ashe out of position, gets murdered. They kind of go for a bad fight here. We trade it 1 for 1. So it could have gone worse, but it's not the greatest fight we have either. We get him. Decided to go back. It's obvious it's a big going on. That's smart to keep going when you're injured. So we see that, yeah, they're getting ready for the dragon. At least doesn't go in until late. They get it. Congratulations. They're burning everything. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm just gonna push top then. Teemo has to back off. But look at what we got for this, right? We got a tower. We got a bunch of kills. We got Teemo out of the fight, and then we got them dedicating an extra person to me. So we got a decent amount out of that, right? We didn't lose it. Losing the dragon is unfortunate, but that's not a huge deal. So I said I was going to talk about this at 15 minutes. So let's go back to 15 minutes. There's just a span of things that occur, right? With the dragon. In fact, they have the dragon buff basically at 15 minutes, so this is going to skew things a little. This is going to be some money that's not represented in gold because of the buff, right? So if we look up at the lane matchups, I'm slightly winning mine in gold because he's died twice. I've gotten the 2 ganks. He got the 1, and Lee got, I mean, it was kind of a bloodbath, so everybody got kills there. Their jungler is winning because, oh look, he was here the whole game and he's a Lee Sin, so he's got some really strong early game ganking and healing pressure. Elise is not here for a while, and it doesn't have quite the same level. So she's going to naturally be farther behind. The biggest discrepancy, though, is in mid lane, where Jarvan is just absolutely dumpstering the TF. TF is just getting destroyed at this point. 155 against a 741 Jarvan. This is a very mean fight here. And if you look, he hasn't even finished a full item, whereas we have a full Ravenous Hydra on Jarvan already. This is a huge boost for him. That minion's there and yet not there. That's interesting. ADCs are, it's a 300 gold difference. It's not a huge amount. That's one kill. It doesn't really translate to a massive difference in items. They're also going for different build paths. Ashe wanted to get Azeel right away to up the crit damage she's guaranteed to do when she attacks somebody that's slowed from her frost shot. Whereas Graves just goes for the more damage-oriented role, and that makes sense for him because he needs that damage for the burst. Ashe has a sustained damage. And then support, there's actually a fairly, for a support especially, 1,000 gold alone is a huge deal. 1,300 is even better. So Zyra is far up on gold over the Braum. So things play out, fights. Move things around. We get we can actually get a 4 for 1, and they get dragon, sure. Or 4 for 2, but we also get the tower. They come up, they do a lot of pressure. The Lee Sin's stronger than I thought, because he's, fed. Well, I do end up dying, not a huge loss, but at this point it kind of comes down to map movements, really, is where a lot of this is. We have an Ashe that, I mean, look at this, they fight the two of them just without a problem. This is I'm gonna cut it here because really, I'm gonna point out a couple of things, and then I'm gonna let the replay kind of play out, right? Ashe is trying. It almost feels like trying to be as antagonistic as possible towards our team because she's not happy with the Zyra and was bitching and moaning about the Zyra in lane, and there's just a bitching fest going back and forth on that one. It was ugly and it was stupid, and I don't know why it was a thing. Jarvan's quite far ahead, and he's got a lot of damage already. He's already finished the last Whisper. So it doesn't even matter how much armor they build at this point. He's still going to be doing substantial amounts of damage. And I've got one item, but that stacks. It's very easy for people to forget that. If you get one stack of bleeding on you, you will get that 5 tick. You will get 5 free ticks of it. Because how much ticks? What, 5 times, isn't it? I want to say it ticks 5 times. So there's the initial damage, and there's each time it ticks, it applies. So you basically break 30% of their armor for a single hit. Maybe 2 at the most. So at this point on, armor isn't a whole big deal. We've got some damage in the forms of the Jarvan and the Elite and the Zyra. Now, I just kind of want to let this game play out because it's a lot of map movements. So just focus a lot down here, right? They bring 2 to deal with me. We're not really pushing anywhere. They do the teleport. They get the kill because Jarvan's overextended. He admits he was. It was stupid of him. Fights down here. It's a lot of running around and catching people out and having a great team fight there. And I want to highlight what happened here because this was a very good fight for my team. So what happens is we set up a spook. I'm acting as visible pressure, whereas we have the invisible pressure over here. And as soon as I see that there, this is what's going to happen. I start moving over. We get a lot of damage down onto the Braum quickly. Take him out. Graves has to leave immediately, and I get a flash hook that causes more damage. Oh yeah, that's right. Jarvan's a thing. Gets the kill. I get the kill on Lee Sin. We're gonna get the kill here. I was super, for some reason my path thing was all jacked up. I was super sad on getting the ult. But it was a great fight for us. We didn't lose anybody. Somehow, I was 90% certain we were gonna lose Jarvan. I'm surprised we didn't. Even watching the replay, I'm like, how did we not lose Jarvan? We're down a dragon, by the way, at this point. We decide it's just best to go for the inhibitor. At this point, the game should be pretty clear-cut. The game's got another 20 minutes before we actually win the game, and I'm going to show why, right? It's a lot of map issues. A lot of people going where they don't need to be at the wrong time, the wrong place. No, there's this fight down here that happens. Why? I mean, it's in our favor, but why did it bother? It keeps going in our favor, and then it's not. I'm just like, well, I'm gonna hang out in here. I'm gonna be here in the bush, waiting for our jungler until we can get the pick, and we get the kill. It's like, well, okay, we're just gonna back off. Kind of play taunting. It's a lot of map movement, right? We're kind of a split decision on what we're gonna do here. We finally decide we're gonna go dragon. I go top to save top, and then everybody kind of leaves or flounders around. Elise tries to go push too hard without anybody give us assistance. It just becomes a big deal of who's got the better map movements at the time, and it varies. We actually get a very easy catch on the Lee Sin because his map movements were bad, but it's obviously they're setting up a spook. Now, we've got a split push going on, and it works out, right? We get some kills. We don't do a lot of damage down here, but Jarvan gets some stuff down there. It ends up not going so great up here. Whatever. We end up just keep pushing. We're forcing Teemo to continually focus up here, so it's harder for him to do anything. The map movements just kind of feel sloppy at this point. Nobody really worked together in cohesion. It was at the point where Jarvan could just dumpster somebody, and he wanted to keep pushing this middle lane, keep pushing it up, which is, I mean, it's all right of an idea, but it's not the greatest. You know, you want to be splitting other lanes, and that's what I'm trying to do. It's what Ash is trying to do while they try to brute force their way into the base against 5 of them, and it takes. We've already lost one of our members. You know, the Zyra's dead already. You know, and ult gone and everything. I mean, yeah, one of theirs is down, but this is their base, and they're all grouped up together. We don't have a lot of damage up here anymore. This is the time to be backing off and getting towers, but instead, it's a lot of continued assault, and so we lose a lot of our capabilities of doing things. It can make sense to do this for that kind of play, but I don't think it was in this case. I think it was a case where we needed to either do a full split or, you know, see this. I take the blue because everybody's been bitching because the ADC's been taking it the entire time. I mean, look at this. We've got 10 more minutes. This is still... We're not losing our advantage or anything, but it's not growing either. Mama Mortius is a silly item to pick on an ADC, I think. Sort of the occult came way late and doesn't really do a whole lot in this game. Just pseudo trolling at this point, and like I said, we're really trying very hard to get something to work, and it's not working. So instead of working together as a team, we're just like, well, we'll try it this way, we'll try it that way. Well, let's brute force to mid some more, because that's smart, right? We keep getting these fights, and we're not getting anything out of it. It doesn't end up working. We lose a lot. There's not a lot. Because we keep getting split up, we keep trying to force mid. Why? Yeah, I don't know. They signal that they want to do Baron. They don't. I mean, they get the Elise, so... We try setting up some more kills. We get them back off at least. We decide, you know what? We want the Baron. No. So we get it. And what do we do with it? We set up a 1-1-1. And Elise gets caught, and so we lose 3 people right away that had for 1. Ashe doesn't get anything. Zyra's not getting anything. The map movements are getting sloppy, and we expect that since we've got the advantage, we just win. Very close duel there. It came down to the Zanyas. It's not a lot we're getting anywhere, really, at this point. It takes 5 more minutes for us to crack the base again. And a 3rd dragon. Alright. This is what it's taking for us to crack it because we're doing this so stupid. Nobody's got any magic resistance on the team to get any damage resistance to the shrooms, right? Our 2 big carries here, the most magic resist they have is a fucking Malmortius. That's it. Decent, but not great. I prefer Mercurial because it's got the QSS effect and they've got a lot of stuns. That would be better. It also provides more damage at most points because you're not in the position where you want to be getting hit all the time. Right. So it's just a bunch of sloppy map movements that somehow end up working out because we can team fight better. I'm like, oh, you're not gonna take me down. I'd survive. And we're like, okay. Let's look at the situation here, right? We have 3 people in the base still doing damage. They don't have anybody. The next person that comes up is for 21 seconds. We've got a cannon. We've got that. Just get some minions and do some damage, right? It's 1 tower. What's Ashe doing? She passed around, but instead of continuing to attack and get the tower and then just get the Nexus, we still got 10 seconds, by the way, and that's just Braum. She backs off. 2 minutes longer we must play this game and fight because she decides she doesn't want to win right yet. Alright, fine, whatever. Could have been worse. Could have been a mess up. Oh. Another very close fight here. It's just a little off. I'm back here, I think, waiting for trying to get inside what item I needed. Yeah. And I mean, if this team had actually grouped together and focused and actually tried killing somebody, just outright killing somebody, we would have won, or winning the game. We could have won this game a while ago. And here's something else to notice, right? Let's take a look at this from my point of view. We have a TF that's pushing, or at least trying to deter me from continuing to push. I don't have anybody around me that they can see. They also don't know where anybody else is, though. So what is wrong with this picture? This should not be happening. This TF should not be out this far with 2 inhibitors down and super minions barreling in those 2 lanes. He should not be he should not be fighting out here. This is a setup for something. Alright, so I play it cautiously. Especially since he keeps ducking back and then going back in. He's very much trying to bait something. So I wait. I'm like, okay, this is something sneaky going on here. It's not the Graves. Graves is bot. But Jarvan just comes in and is like, hey, you know what? I don't care. You die. It turns out to not really matter too much because, yeah. But it's actions like what that TF did that show a spook. For some reason, the team's like insistent on dealing with top lane, and I'm like, guys, we've got this like free entry path here. Let's just do this. And we kill him, and we just win the game. But it took significantly longer than it needed to because our team was, you know, basically playing around at the end there. We weren't actually trying to win. We could have won 20, you know, like 15 minutes ago. 10, 15 minutes ago. But the team played around some. They had bad movements. And game ended up stalling out for a little bit. Not in terms of gold. We were ahead of gold at all points when we took the lead. We took the lead, the gold stayed in our lead. But map movements were poor from us, and they kept catching us, and we kept trying to brute force that mid. When we should have been doing the 1-3-1. Or, you know, a 2-1-2. With threat. it's things like that that can cost you a game. And if this continued going on for a lot longer, it could have, because TF was starting to get scary. As was the Teemo. That's it for the analysis today, guys. I will see you on Friday with another game, with a new game and a new analysis.